Well, hello and welcome again. And today we're out on the bike. Today it's the Multistrada 1260S, and it is a bit warmer today than in my last video, which was from yesterday, when it felt quite cold, or quite cool at least. I have brought all sorts of things. I've put liners in the pants. I've got my under jacket in the top box if I need it, and I've got a neck tube in the top box. In fact, I've got two. So we are kind of ready to go on a bit of a ride, and we're now just going to move from here towards Hassop Station Cafe, and we're going to go via the Strines or Mortimer Road. So let's get moving. Right then, so we're on the move now, just about to join the Strines or Mortimer Road. That kind of is here down in the Peak District, and we're heading down to Hassop Station Cafe. It's quite a big cafe down there. It's a nice place, do nice food, and it's only about an hour and a half's run from where I live, so it's kind of pretty convenient, pretty straightforward. It's a bit of a very, very busy junction here though, that's the problem. And nobody wants to wait or give way whatsoever. It's that kind of junction. Right, so Mid-Hope Stones Village. We'll take it all nice and steady on here. It is, now this is a very, very well used biking road, and there are lots of bikes flying in both directions, going wildly fast. I'm not going to be doing that today, and one of the reasons is that it is something that you've got to be a little bit careful with, really, unless you're in the kind of well-tuned space. You've got a lot to contend with around here. You've got wildlife that can appear, you've got vehicles of all descriptions coming in the opposite direction, you've got some very tight hairpin bends. The road condition's pretty good actually for today. But you've just got to be a little bit wary. And the other thing to bear in mind, of course, as well, is you've got a lot of undulations. Undulations, yes. Which means that you've got sort of ups and downs. There are some nice bits where you get quite a nice view of the road ahead and of the surroundings. And you've just got to be careful, because there are some road hoggers too who like to use up quite a bit of the road. So experience tells me that better to live another day than race away in these situations. I mean, I'll sort of do a nice steady sort of 50-60 wherever it's appropriate to do so. The rest of the time I'll just plod around, because I'm in no rush. And weather is now pretty nice around here. It's 19 degrees today, so down here at least we've got a bit of sunshine. When I left home about 45 minutes ago, it was quite dull. It was warm, it's very muggy, but in comparison to yesterday it just feels that little bit nicer all round, sort of temperature wise, in every sense. It is that little bit of a kind of nicer day. Lots of what appears to be agricultural material, let's call it, on the roads. Shh. It's there, and again, you've just got to add these little things up on the list, because that could mean not only that the road conditions are, and you see he was quite well over there, not only are the road conditions like this when you're going around bends, but also there might be tractors, trailers, as we experienced a couple of videos back, hogging the road. And here we have a few tight hairpin bends, so I always take it nice and steady around these. Bit of damp on the road there. I don't know whether you see sometimes as well, but particularly when you've got all these agricultural vehicles traipsing up and down, you've got to be careful there's no spillages of diesel, because that can be particularly treacherous on the old tyres, you know. So while this biking road is, while this road is seen as being a biking road, and I know lots of people will race up and down this like a racetrack, I've also become aware that it is quite a sort of an accident prone area too. Check, make sure he's alright, alright. Good, he's alright. So yeah, this little cafe I'm going to, it's actually a reasonable sized cafe. It's I think there's like a bit of a commercial business there at the side of it. I can't remember what they do, sort of hiring bicycles and various things. And they make pretty nice food as well. Of course, it's sort of fairly expensive, but it's nice to sometimes have a little stop. And actually it's nice that the weather's good down here. As I say, it was warm when I left home, but it wasn't sunny like it is here at the minute, which makes for a nice YouTube video content, of course, a bit of sunshine. Just quell some of the boredom of my videos, I suppose, as I'm tootling around on the bike, not doing anything dangerous or crazy or falling off, hopefully. Some beautiful scenery around here too. It'd be a nice place for sort of a walk or even a cycle ride, I suppose. Well, not necessarily a cycle ride unless you were particularly feeling fit, because maybe going downhill would be fine, but cycling back uphill wouldn't be quite as nice. Now the road condition here generally is very good, but in the odd spot it can be very, very potholy all of a sudden. And I've obviously done a few little repairs here and there. There's obviously a dangerous corner here with the flowers there. And that's why I always just like to, well, I say always, I mean when I was a little bit younger perhaps I went a little bit faster, but I've never been one for really, you know, all out pushing bikes to their limits, or myself to my limits. I mean, I have on occasions pushed myself to my limits, but I think motorbiking is one of those, it's kind of all things to all bikers, isn't it, in that you can go out on one day and think, right, I'm going to have a bit of a run around, a spirited ride. Another day you go out and think, well, I'm just going to take it nice and easy. More of my trips these days are going out and taking it nice and easy. so much more relaxing, and you're not sort of having to be as tirelessly focused on the next thing that's coming. You are obviously still observing all the time, but you're not like as in it as you would be if you were bombing along. So we're about 34 minutes to go to get to the cafe. I'll keep running the video. Just before I sort of have a bit of a quiet spell, what I thought I'd just talk about a little bit is, so the misfire I mentioned in my last video on this bike, not the video I put up yesterday on the KTM. I did mention it on that as well. But yeah, the HT lead was loose on this bike, apparently, on one of the spark plugs, and that was causing the misfire. That's as simple as it was. So I probably do need to get one of those Haynes manuals and start thinking about being able to do a little bit more servicey type work, or at least simple work like that, really. If I'd have known how to get to each spark plug, I could have at least checked that, found it myself without having to ship it all the way down to Coventry, and the time and cost that that took. But apart from that, it's doing well. I should, sort of on reflection, perhaps when it was in, I should have asked them to put all new spark plugs in, because, you know, it is a 5-year-old bike. It's only now just done 2,173 miles, and it's running well. But I do think, just compared to the one I had before, which also had the full Termi exhaust system and the up map, it's just slightly more laboury. Just, and I do mean slightly, but it's just not got quite the absolute edge that that other bike had. And I don't know whether the spark plugs, if they're just sitting there in the case of the engine for 5 years and they haven't been changed since new, whether, you know, really they should be changed anyway, don't know. I suppose there's not much difference from them sitting in a cardboard box on the shelf for 5 years, but maybe there is. So almost a Canadian or North American sort of look to this part of the stretch of road with all of these large pine trees. That's my usual little stopping spot there to get that view down there. The last time we were here, I noticed that there was a big rut at the side of the road, which made it a little bit more challenging to get the bike back from the parked area to the road itself. When you consider this sort of bit of tarmac is just etched into the side of this valley here, I suppose at the side of it, it does a road with the waterfall off, and then you get like quite a step to get back onto the tarmac. Absolutely fine if you're in a car, it, you know, wouldn't even notice it really. Now I think the camera will keep running long enough. I think there's plenty of certainly plenty of SD card available. Batteries, I brought the 2 spares if I wanted them. I've actually got 2 cameras, I'm just using this one at the minute. I haven't yet got, and I've got to get actually a, like I've got on the KTM, a camera mount on the handlebars. I haven't actually got one on this, so it's something I do need to get. Now I think just beyond this building here is the pub. I think it's called the Strines pub. In fact, that is the building. I think that's what it's called. Right, we'll use the quick shifter here to go up into 4th and 5th. Yep, quick shifter is working. Still kind of trained just to use the clutch really, so somebody commented on one of my previous videos, I think it's on the KTM, that I wasn't using the quick shifter, but it isn't something that I necessarily automatically go for. I mean, I did there for example, but still tend to find myself using the clutch more than the quick shifter. Yeah, these road conditions here, the surface is pretty rough. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that really on the camera, but I think this was a really nice road when they resurfaced it all. It's going back a few years now. Looks like they may have resurfaced bits of it further back there as well, but it is just a little bit rough around here. So there's the Heather Dean place up there, which is like another little kind of cafe, and I think maybe even there they hire bikes and things too. And when I say hire bikes, I mean, sorry, bicycles, not motorbikes. In case you were wondering what the hell I was talking about. Now when I got this bike, I got it second hand, and it only had just over 1,000 miles on it earlier this year. I think it was late May when I got it, and it has a service book fully filled in with all the mileages all the way through and everything. But it didn't have a book with it, with like, you know, your normal user manual type book. And the one I had before did. It had two separate books. So I looked back on one of my laptops, and I have got the digital version of it, thankfully, from the last time I had the bike. So I was having a look through there, but of course they don't really tell you a great deal about how to service things. Right then, well, I'll shut my mouth now, possibly edit a bit of this out, and we'll just have a bit of a ride and leave the video running. Road ahead closed. Does he know a way that way? Does he know a way this way? It's like a dead end to me. So this chap ahead has said I think he said he's going to the same place as me. So I wasn't quite sure though whether he had heard whether he'd heard what I said when I said I'm going to Hassop station, because we were a little bit of a distance there, and both with bikes engines running and helmets, and in my case earplugs in too. Maybe he did hear what I said, and he said I'm going there too if you want to follow me. So we shall follow him and see where he goes. Maybe we are sort of headed somewhere back in that direction, but it is quite a long detour if this is where he is going. Not sure why that road is closed, and whether any sort of shorter alternate routes would have ended up bringing us back onto that road. Maybe this is why he's going like a much longer route around. Or, of course, he might have thought he heard where I said I wonder if he's going to Grindleford station, because I think there's another one there as well. Oh, it's called Hassop Road, so that must mean we're in the right direction. Oh yes, that's the one. The entrance is just kind of weirdly just sort of on the roundabout. Or just slightly off it, can't remember which. It's looking busy with vehicles there, so hopefully somewhere stable to park. It's quite gravelly, I think, as well, from memory. I think my chin is going to be quite sore with this microphone today, being pressed up against it. I'm going to have to come up with a better way of mounting this little DJI wireless mic box inside the helmet. Anyway, that's it for this little video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and even though it was quite boring, hopefully we will see you again next time. Bye bye for now.